Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now it's Mayor Bob Hedlund.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Ask the Mayor. I'm your citizen advocate, Jim Melody, and I'm joined as always by the star of the show, the mayor of the town of Weymouth, Mr. Robert Hedlund. How are you today, Robert?
Excellent. Nice to see you again, Jim. It's been a while.
We are back. It is the fall time, Robert. It is another edition of Ask the Mayor. You know, it's always good to see a friendly face here in the mayor's office with our outstanding crew, of course, and our good friends.
Our last show, we got one real negative thing, but we got some nice questions last time.
Which we're still in shock a month later. It was unprecedented. Not only, I believe we got our first positive review, or you did, you got two of them in a row.
I think I was wearing that same suit last month. For that
well, it's a good luck. Just keep it on. Keep it on. All right, well, Robert, once again, our cup runneth over. We've got all kinds of questions. If you don't mind, we're going to get right into it.
Our cup runneth over, huh?
Well, listen, it's almost baseball players. By the way, what's your prediction for the Red Sox this year in the playoffs? You think they're going far? Well, they're there in October, so, you know. All right. I mean, by then, the Patriots hopefully will have won a game. Okay, Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft.
Yeah, thank you. We're all patriots from what I understand. Well, we're all patriots. I am emailing you about the Comcast service to me. I doubt this will ever be solved by you. I've been with Comcast forever. Is there any other choice?
Who's this from?
This is from Mary Blake. I don't know if you're familiar with Mary. Mary, thanks for writing in. I've been with Comcast forever, but I have nowhere else to be connected to with this type of service. Well, they have a monopoly, Mary. They continue to hike up my monthly bill, and it's getting expensive to me. She speaks for all of us. Such is life.
I feel her pain.
Such is life. The Mary, we love you.
And I can't even get the MLB network without taking on even a major higher bill, which the rest of the stuff in that package I don't even want, so I go without my baseball news.
So Mary was kind enough to write a very detailed response, Bob. I'm going to edit it down as best I can, but essentially she's had problems over the last few months with customer service in response to her telephone and internet service. She's left multiple messages without any return calls, and she's wondering, I do wonder if it's just she references herself as I do wonder if it's just I was had the poor support from Comcast and wonder how they're able to remain our provider in Weymouth. To know that their customer commitment is to respect our time, simplify our experience, and make things right, and yet they fall short. Big corporations do not always tell the truth, and nothing is done. Little people are the losers. Again, such as life. Mary, I want to give you a hug. I want to meet Mary. I want to take her out to dinner. Yes, this is everyone's paying Mary over you, Bob. They stink.
There's small businesses, too, that sometimes don't tell the truth, too.
Well,
it isn't just large corporations.
So, Robert, what's your thoughts on Comcast?
I mean, I don't want to answer the Comcast
it's coming
question
quite a bit, Mayor,
for
by
the
way.
1,000th time.
Yeah. And we love you.
Actually, it's a pretty good segue to some new information, but they're our provider. No one else wants to come in town to lay the infrastructure to provide competitive service, especially nowadays with people cutting the cord. However, we are taking steps to look into providing our own municipal fiber and internet, blah, blah, blah. Ooh. There is a survey going out any day now that I don't know if it'll go out by the time this airs or not, but she'll have a chance to say, read our information from the town, and we have to do the survey to get a sense of what the buy-in will be, because we've got to hit a certain customer base for us to proceed. This is being done by a consultant that we've hired to move in this direction. So we'll see how that works out. I'm getting mixed signals on whether or not this is an enterprise that the town wants to continue to pursue.
A la Belt, or not? Belt has their own electric company. Braintree has their own electric company, right? So this wouldn't be at that level.
No, you can't. We can't start our own electric company because of state regulations. They're an anomaly because they had it prior to the time we did deregulation and everything else. The ability to start up your own electric company is almost nil now in the state. That's another misnomer. And by the way, Braintree just sold their municipal internet service to Comcast. Okay? So for those that always point to Braintree as this wonderful example, they just got out of it. So I don't know about her customer service. I'm going to share something, Mary, personal. I recently lost my internet in my house. I went without it for over 2 months. Now, if it had been winter, I probably would have been a little more proactive. Look at Mary's face. Look at her. She's laughing. So all of a sudden, I lose my internet, my Wi-Fi, and my cable TV. I got nothing, right? I'm busy. July is my busiest month. I'm running around coaching Cal Ripken and doing this and that, playing my softball team, work, blah, blah, blah. Not much time for TV.
Skateboarding.
And the last thing I want to do is call Comcast customer service and talk to a guy in India or wherever for 6 hours, right? So I kept procrastinating. My kid comes over, who's my tech advisor at 12 years old. I said, fix my TV.
Mine too.
He couldn't get it going. So finally, and every once in a while, there was something on I wanted to watch, and I'm like, my TV's not working, right? So finally, probably 2 months or a little over 2 months, I bite the bullet. I log on, and everything was automated, right? And this thing pops up and says, yeah, well, we're going to, a service representative will contact you. An hour later, I get a text message. They schedule an appointment. This guy comes out the next day, and don't say, well, because you're the mayor. They didn't know
My
who
jaw's about to
They
hit the
didn't know
ground.
who I
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I was about to just say that.
Guy shows up. He checks my TV. He was probably there about 20 minutes. He looks at me. He goes, I think I voted for you. So it turns out he's a Weymouth kid that now lives in Abington.
And he
right?
plugged it in and it worked.
No. He couldn't get it going. He goes, the problem's outside in the street, right? So he goes out in the street. He's out there for working for about a half hour. He goes, I think I got it fixed. He comes in, boom, working. The kid couldn't have been more efficient, nicer. It was actually, they're going to want to impeach me if I say this, but it was actually a wonderful customer service experience. I was never on a phone going through steps with some guy in another country that couldn't speak English. I was shocked. I said, I wish I did that 2 months earlier. So I paid my bill for 2 months with no service.
So will you please post that special mayor number they gave you to call so we can all call that number?
It wasn't,
so
no,
we can get service?
it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that.
I don't doubt for a second it wasn't like that because I know they treat everybody like crap. So congratulations, but it was a problem out on the street at the end of the day, as you're saying.
Yeah,
and they still charge you. Did they give you a rebate on your 2 months of what's that, about $500?
I know. I should have probably sought that out.
Well, put you on the job would be my best advice. But Comcast's been a challenge. I
did have I don't know if I should share this. So
please do. So I can tell my National Grid story. But back to you.
I have an acquaintance, and she works in a Comcast service center in another community.
Mary Masterson?
And one day I called her up. I had her personal phone number. I go, are you able to log into my account from where you are? And she goes, yeah. Because I wanted to change something on the package or get rid of something. And she did it in 5 seconds. Is that legal?
What's her number? Well, I know I walked in the office explaining to the mayor that I just got a $700 bill from National Grid, and when I called up that number, it was 15 minutes of being bounced around and then not being hung up on.
How many air conditioners are you running?
I've got 2 on me in the bedroom. I had my daughter follow me around with the fan. Yeah, it was $300 the same period last year, so God bless them.
We got to get rolling here. A lot of questions.
Yeah, I want to tell everybody about my experiences. It wasn't the same as yours. All right, hey, hello, Mayor, and Jim Melody. As a regular follower, asked the mayor, I've noticed that your citizen advocate inquisitor has slimmed down quite a bit. Oh, hey now. It's really noticeable in some of the throwback video pieces where they had to use a wide lens. Tell us, Jim, what is your secret? A loyal fan. Well, I was hoping this question was going to come up because I happen to possess, Bob.
Did you lose weight?
I have all of Richard Simmons' old workout videos that I've been running left and right. Then I plug in Jane Fonda. Voila!
In my 20s, Richard Simmons sat next to me on a plane.
Hey now.
And he was dressed exactly like he was on his show. Honest to God.
So,
It's got to be his brand, right?
I have a picture of him in my wallet if you want.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Just better eating, better quality of lifestyle when I hang out with the mayor and all my friends here at WETC.
So you have,
you
have lost weight?
I am happy to report I'm down 75 pounds.
How many?
75, I think. Thank you, Mayor. Sitting O for that one. I tried out for Cal Ripken. They cut me because I was too chubby.
How did that get by me?
You don't miss a thing over there in that mayor's chair. Listen, now you can cover me in basketball again. Now you'll have no shot. He's still trying to clean up the sweat from when they call me the swamp on the golf course and the basketball court. All right, dear Mayor, we're moving right along. A number of Broad Street residents have received notification that the Hingham Electric Department would like to dig up Broad Street to link into the power grid next to the canal rink and pool. Wow. We're all hot for the utilities today. All right, what do you know about this project? Hopefully something. It seems crazy to have to dig up the length of Broad Street a year after paving it for an abutting community. Does Weymouth have the power to reject this proposal? Thank you. From Dorothy Matthewson.
Yes, we have the power. We have the power.
Thank you, Dot.
Yes, we have the power to reject it. There might be a way to appeal it with the Department of Public Utilities, but it would be a lengthy process. So the position we have right now is, yes, I do know about it. We've been briefed on it. Obviously, they came in here. Not that we don't want to be cooperative to our friends in Hingham.
Good friends. You won't be able to go to the reunion.
So the way this is going to work is we are looking at routes. It might not necessarily go down Broad Street, but we think that by the time, this is interesting, so by the time that the project, well, let me put it this way. If we reach an agreement with Hingham, we have to arrive at a route and we want appropriate mitigation for our troubles, okay? And there's other things that might be inducements for Weymouth, that one of which I can't talk about just yet, but it would be a very positive development for Weymouth tied into this particular project. By the time that the project would actually be undertaken, Broad Street would be pretty close to being needed to be upgraded again anyway.
Oh, no kidding.
And an alternative route would be down Lake Street. But by the time this project happens, it looks like Lake Street will already be repaved, and there will be some other improvements on Lake Street that we're hopefully going to announce this fall.
So that would be repaved.
So, yeah, so by the time this happens, Lake Street would actually be newer than Broad Street. If they do rip up Broad Street, there's going to be some conditions where they would have to rebuild Broad Street curb to curb and include new sidewalks. When we did Broad Street, we weren't able to do new sidewalks the entire route, so there'd be that benefit. Also, they would get into Jackson Square where the culvert is. It's likely we would require them, when they're disrupting the road, to rebuild the culvert that needs replacing in front of, between Newcomb's and Nico's. That needs attention in a big way, so that would be included in part of the mitigation. So that's the short answer. We got a long way to go. I know they had their first initial public meeting, which, by the way, I didn't necessarily agree that they do that before we even have any firm commitments or routes, but that was what the Hingham Light Department chose to do. So again, it's early, and we do have control over this, and we have only now started, having discussions with them as to what we would want in return for the disruption it would bring to Weymouth.
Since we're brainstorming, Bob, is there any way on a quid pro quo that we could link into their electric department?
No.
No, it doesn't work that way? What the hell do I know? But they got an electric department, we get overcharged by our gang.
Well, they have a lot of problems with their electric department. First of all, they're a municipal owned, but they're not a generator. Braintree generates power, generates their own electricity with the power plant they have. Hingham doesn't do that, they buy it. Oh, okay. And they've got supply issues, which is why they're looking for this.
All right, interesting. All right, so this sounds like it would be a couple years out then anyway, huh?
At least.
Okay, so not exactly on the horizon, but a great question. Thank you, Dorothy. Hi, Mayor. Is it possible to get on the list for new sidewalks? I live on Cottage Street. Thank you from Helen. Is there a list of people call in? Helen, you made the list.
We'll put her on the list. It all depends on how far down on the list it is, right?
Well, C's right after B.
Well,
Isn't it
Cottage
the
Street.
alphabet?
Well, whoa. Cottage Street's off of Broad Street. So you can tie
Ta-da!
that in with
That's all linked in. So she'll be voting for that link up. All right, we want to remind everybody, as always, the questions are great. We got a whole
By the way,
bunch of them.
on a serious note about sidewalks, so traditionally this town didn't do much sidewalk work, and we're trying to.
We've talked about that, yeah.
Yes, we've talked about it. When the policy's been, when we do a road, we try to do the sidewalk with it. There have been some exceptions. A lot of times the sidewalk work is actually more expensive than the road work.
You're kidding. Wow.
Because that's where the manual labor comes in, setting curbs, things like
Who'd
that.
have thunk it? Small.
But just to remind everybody with our Pave the Way program, we have taken road work in Weymouth from 1.2. When I came in, preceding me, the average was about 1.2 to 1.4 million a year in paving. We're doing 8 million.
Wow.
It seems the more paving we do, the more it gets on
of course.
people's minds and the more asks we get. So we're trying to get caught up.
There's a lot of need, obviously, and as I've maintained on more than one occasion, you feel like you're living in a new town when those roads are paved. It really makes a difference, and it's been a great improvement.
I'm looking
for
at
the
this
town.
one here. It's
Okay.
going to be interesting.
With your X-ray vision, we're going to Route 3A in cannabis. We're moving right along. Hello, Mayor Hedlund.
Trying to think the tie in there.
We have the weed guys
Okay.
pay for the roads. All right. Hello, Mayor Hedlund. First, I'd like to give you thanks for the wonderful job you're doing for the town of Weymouth.
Thank you.
But my eyesore is the vacant buildings up and down Route 3A. Could you please request that the businesses clean up their vacant buildings and surroundings, specifically across from the Riverway Plaza? The car dealership is totally disgraceful, and if they do not clean it up, give them a fine until they do. I know you have a little book that you walk around with, isn't it? Second, we have 2 shops that I know of in Weymouth that are adults only, so why can't we have a cannabis shop and get the tax revenue? Sincerely, Alice Lyons, a resident of North Weymouth.
Cannabis shop.
The 2 adult shops.
So quickly on the cannabis shop, Weymouth voted against the plot referendum thing, and the way, I won't get into the whole process and the way the law was constructed, but there was a vote taken by the council to consider recreational marijuana that went down 11-0. So
In favor or
against.
Okay.
So it's kind of a moot point at this point. So there was an effort on the council to move that forward, and because of the way the law is, if you are no community on the referendum, it requires a vote at town meeting or a council to start the process to reverse that, and the council chose to leave the status quo. So that's that. The short answer on that.
Wow.
There's more issues with that, but we'll leave it at that for now. In terms of Route 3A, yeah, it's been an ongoing problem. When I ran for mayor 6 years ago, that's something that people talked about a lot. When we did our commercial corridor overlay, it went from the Hingham line only to the U-Haul, because if you go further north, there are residential units that back up to a lot of those properties, and the properties aren't that deep. Now the good news is, although some people think it's not good news, but we have a couple of blighted properties on Route 3A north of the commercial corridor overlay that are being redeveloped. The closed gas station, which I think was a BP station when I was a kid, on 3A, it's been vacant for, 20 years. That's being redeveloped, a small project there. And then the old Quincy Adams Garden Center that then became a used car lot, that's being redeveloped. I think that building is going to be great. There are people squawking about it, I know. But
You don't want to disrupt that village environment on 3A.
I know. I think it's a great building. It's going to have a kitchen showroom on the first floor, which I think goes hand in hand with the Republic Plumbing Supply Showroom, which is a beautiful building. Yes, it's got residential above, but that was the only way you're going to get someone to make the investment in the site. So we'll see how that comes out. I think the plan looks good. I mean, they've got a lot of green space, and I think the building's going to look nice. I have people telling me that it's cookie cutter and it's ugly and it's da-da-da-da-da, but we'll see when it's up. I think it's an improvement than an empty used car lot, quite frankly. So back to the car dealer further south that is in the overlay. When we did the commercial corridor overlay in that section of Route 3A, it generated a lot of interest in that site. And I know personally of at least 3 developers, and no, not the ones that people squawk about in Weymouth all the time, but I know of at least 3 developers that have knocked on the door of Arbor Inn and have knocked on Tufanction's door. Arbor Inn was willing to work with them on a plan to redevelop the site and get rid of Arbor Inn. Tufanction will not sell. And he has legitimate reasons right now for not selling, which I understand. He's got a couple of reasons. I accept them. I think there'll be some movement on that in the future where that site would be for sale, because the problem is you can't redevelop Arbor Inn alone. You've got to combine those parcels. The Arbor Inn site's only like 30,000 square feet. It's very small. So something's going to happen there someday. Now, because that site's been inactive and is an eyesore, we just, at the last licensing board meeting, took his used car license from him. So I think that'll help create some pressure on finally doing something. So that's the reasonably short to moderate length answer on those 2 questions.
So did the town council have to approve the adult shops when they first came to town? Like they have to approve the weed stores?
So I think, I'm not sure about this answer, but I got involved in the issue in the legislature when the Foxy Lady was going to come.
Yeah,
and that was early in my career, so it was a long time ago. But there were I don't think there were zoning provisions at the time for adult-oriented businesses. So they could go in under just a general, whether a B1 or B2 zone. So that's how those ended up in Weymouth.
And I didn't realize that they were so against the cannabis shop thing that the council.
And she said there's 2?
She says there's 2 in Weymouth.
I can only think of the one.
I can only think of one.
Where's the other one, do you know?
Yeah, holy smokes. But no, the town council isn't interested in the cannabis proposition at this point.
No.
Interesting. All right, well, was the town responsible for refinancing the redesign of the interior of the Sand Trap, which I happened to be in not so long ago? It looks beautiful.
What's the owner's name?
It's a Weymouth, is it Blazo?
I just got a threatening email from him the other day. But anyway, on another matter, maybe that'll be a threatening, not in a personal,
Chase on.
threatening in a legal fashion.
He said from now on he's going to charge you double on your Budweisers when you walk in there if you don't help him out.
Well, now I'm not going in there after getting an email. But I think he's mistaken on what the town's liability on his issue might be. But
all right, well,
I gave him my number and said, give me a call, and I haven't heard from him. So when you're in there having your Budweiser, you can act as my intermediary.
I'll do my investigative reporting. Listen, we're actually moving fast, and we're about to come to the tail end of another exciting episode.
Right, let's skip this
We do
one.
want to remind everybody that please keep the questions coming to askmayorbob@gmail.com.
Do we have
there
time
is a
for
hodgepodge, but Bob's looking for a quick one that we can sneak in under the 4 minutes that they're waving at us right now.
All right, let's
Anything
get to
in
these.
particular?
Let's go. Hurry up.
All right, well, I'm going to, Bobby, if you don't mind, I like the, when Mary enlarges the type, it's a little easier for me. I don't have my glasses, so let's go with this one. Hello, Mayor Bob and Jim's Soul Power Melody. Over the last many years, we have experienced extreme or damaging winds, and I have noticed on many streets the many branches and limbs overhanging our power lines. I'm sure we have had some power lines come down because of the strong winds. I believe with the changes of the weather that we will have some damaging effects, continue to have damaging effects to the community. Is there a program in town or by the utility companies that maintain the power lines in town to clear the branches and
Yes,
tree limbs?
Verizon's responsible for
They're
theirs.
responsible for their own, huh?
Grid's responsible for theirs, and every once in a while you'll see different tree companies out doing that work.
All right, well, Bob, I think that wraps up another exciting episode of Ask the Mayor. Any parting words of wisdom as we head into the fall?
No, we look forward to seeing everyone at the remaining Weymouth 400 events, the Scaled Down Pumpkin Festival. Is this going to be up before the music festival? Probably not. So I hope everyone had a great time at the Weymouth 400/Town of Weymouth Music Festival that happened right outside our door here.
And what's the date of that?
Will you be performing at that?
I put in the request. I think Ken Wright is my manager.
We're
having trouble getting gigs.
Will Jethro Carroll be there?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Upon request, as
Okay.
always.
All right, well-
You know my normal rate.
What are we closing with?
I'd say stay tuned for What's My Line?
Excellent.
Excellent.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.